What's up, everybody? I'm Abatage and welcome back to Godus. This is kind of a addendum video, I guess, because I've got some. This is basically just me talking about some stuff about where we're up to and that sort of thing, and some things that I've brought up in previous episodes and that sort of stuff. So, but before we do that, I've got a card here which came up due to population. So let's see what we've got. Gems. Beautiful. Could always do with gems. Means we can get more settlements. Now, I haven't logged in for a while because, as you can... Well, I just haven't. As you can see, though, we have a whole bunch of belief ready to collect and that sort of thing, and I'm hoping this guy's going to go all the way up here and come and build this house. I'm hoping. Or he might just be on a repair kind of mission from a storm or something like that. But speaking of storms, now, I'm not going to do much work on this episode, I guess. This is going to be more of a talky episode. So if you just want to see some gameplay and that sort of thing, you maybe skip this one and head on to the next one whenever that comes up. Yes, we got that one going. Because we're not going to do a lot of expanding and stuff. I might just click around and get these guys repairing and things as we talk. But this is essentially a bit of a notes kind of episode, I guess. But, you know, rather than go on about it, let's just do it. Essentially, remember I've been struggling with resources and expansion and that sort of thing. And I've been kind of scratching my head about how to go about continuing with this series, but also continuing play, because I'm just essentially playing it is what I'm doing. And basically, I've reached now the limits of everything, as you will know if you've been watching along. But I've run out of, I've got very few gems. I just got that card then, so maybe we'll plop down a settlement while we talk about this anyway. But that might take a little bit too much thinking and planning. We'll do that later at another time. But yeah, we keep running out of gems and we keep running out of resources and stuff because we've got all those cards that are ready to go but still need shitloads of resources. And I've dug up everything I can and found all the temples I can, and I haven't been able to actually expand any further than where I've got to. Like, these are the limits of my lands. And I haven't been able to find any more resources or anything like that and unlock more cards and do all that kind of thing. So that's kind of the issues I've been having, because it's kind of like, well, if I can't do any of that, then maybe I've just kind of maxed out what I can do right now. And that, I've discovered, is true to an extent. in one way or another. I've talked to some very helpful people, so big shout out to one person in particular who... I don't know whether I want to tell you their name and stuff or anything, because it's not that I don't want them to get credit, but it's kind of like I haven't really asked them specifically. So, I don't want to step on anyone's toes and be disrespectful by broadcasting their Steam name over the internet. So, let's forget that for a second. And but you know who you are. Yeah, you probably have a little giggle right now as well, aren't you? But basically, very helpful dude who has played many more hours of this than I have. Like, many more. And really understands the systems that are at play in the game way better than I do. Helped me out and gave me a few pointers. And essentially, while I head around here, that's a good little segue. Because, do you remember over this way when we got... I think it was either this one or... Actually, I think it was this one. This temple. And we unlocked the land expansion card, but nothing expanded. Well, apparently that's because there's a couple of temples that are bugged, and they're not going to do that anyway. So, fair cop. That's part of the joy of playing a beta. It's just bugged, and it's not necessarily anything that I did wrong, which is kind of cool. The other thing, while I'm putting all these dudes out to repair houses, that is more an interesting thing. It doesn't really change anything, but apparently the storms that we get in the evening, how we've been getting loads of storms and all that kind of thing, and it's just freaking annoying because It just is. Apparently, at the moment, the ratio of storms is basically 80%. As in, 80% of the time, you're going to get a storm. But apparently, and this is as far as I know, and I've been told, apparently the next patch, though, or at least in a patch to come, they will be fixing that. Because they're aware of it and they understand that it's kind of shit, and they're going to change it. So, rock and roll. That's all you need. I think that's half the fun of a beta as well, is kind of, yeah, things are wrong, but it's kind of nice when they go, yep, cool, that's wrong, we'll change that and fix that, so no worries. Can't really get angry about it then, can you? Because it's like, well, they're going to fix it, so that's part of the point of a beta, is you get people playing it and you get people testing it and going, hey, this is kind of shit, man. And they go, yeah, nah, we didn't think of that before, or we hadn't really tested that out before, so rock and roll, thanks for the feedback. But yeah, that's the thing. And what a brilliant segue just now, for I was going to head into talking about resources and cards and how to get them. But we just hit 30,000 wheat, so let us try and see what card we have. Salt farming. Salt farming on beaches unlocked leads to fishing. How does salt farming lead to fishing, really? Whatever. Ours is not to question why. Whatever. And you will notice that this has not gone... Like, the maximum has not increased from 30,000 now that we've hit 30,000, because that is the maximum that is in the game right now. As in, obviously, by the looks of it, they'll still keep farming wheat, and that our total will still keep going up. But the maximum as far as unlocks and that sort of thing is not... you can't go beyond 30,000. So, fair cop. No worries. And that's a little bit disappointing, as in... Because, again, as I've been told by helpful people, this is a good way to get land expansion cards, is through wheat and population. So maybe I can still get it through population, even though I can't really see what my population is. Whoop. Just opened up my book by mistake. Let me close that. So yeah, I can't see where our population is at the moment, so maybe if it increases, although we're not really expanding much at the moment, so it might not. But yeah, if it increases, then maybe we'll get another card from population, but it doesn't look like we're going to get any land expansion anytime soon. Let's just put it that way. Don't be expecting any kind of land expansion. Because the way the game is at the moment, it's not really something that's on the cards for us at this stage. So yeah, that's a good thing to know, because at least then we know, okay, cool, we've gone as far as we can, and we're going to have to stick to that. Moving right along, the other thing about, while we talk about population, is apparently, and this is like some technical stuff that, you know, old Smarty Pants managed to figure out. Apparently, level 2 houses are the most efficient and well-balanced houses as far as... Well, there's lots of damage stuff around here. As far as, you know, as far as belief / population / you know, footprint, level 2 houses are the most efficient ones, which is quite interesting, because I've always thought that bigger would be better, kind of thing. But I think this is a level 2 here. A cabin? Yeah, I think that's a level 2. I could be wrong, so don't quote me, but, you know. You'll know what a level 2 means by now, surely. So yeah, level 1s are not bad, but apparently because of the amount of time it takes for anything to happen with bigger ones, like the amount of time it takes to gather belief and the amount of time that it takes to spawn new followers and that sort of thing, you'd be better off filling that same area of space with multiple level 2 houses, because you'd get much more out of it than you would one big house. That's how I understand it. I might have got a little bit wrong, but I think that's kind of the gist of it anyway. So, you know, I don't know the actual mathematical technical side of it, but that's the gist that I get, and that's the kind of impression I get as far as how that works. And yeah, so that's kind of maybe holding us back on population a little as well, because you can basically max out your population without ever really going too far on expansion-wise. And the other thing with that is, I don't know if you remember, but throughout the episodes, every time I get expansion, the first thing I do is go and collect up all the cards from the chests. And I dig up all the cards that I can find and get all the resources I can find. And that's all cool, except apparently that could have held me back a fair bit in this, because I kind of rushed them a bit too early, in that sense. Because the cards that you find are basically equal to your level. So you could overload in low-level cards by the time you move on to the next period or the next I don't know, era, I guess, and everything upgrades and that sort of thing. And you've got different cards that you're after, and there's different resources that you're after. But yeah, so sometimes it's better to hold off on picking up cards, because then you can at least, when you do pick them up, you can pick them up for a period that you need them for. So like right now, I need a whole heap of cards that are very specific to this kind of era that we're in, or this age, I guess. Or, yeah, you know what I mean. So if I'd held off on some other cards and, say, pick them up now, I'd be getting resources for this particular period instead of when I picked them up originally, where it was for a older period. Now, I don't know how that works as far as, well, you still need resources for that older period, so how much do you need to get to satisfy that need versus keeping them for later? But that sounds like a pretty... It's one of those things that I don't know if I like the idea of it or not, because as much as it's nice that the cards you pick up kind of will be appropriate for whatever period you pick them up in, it's one of those things where it's like, well, is it really worth gaming the game so much that, you know, that you're going to wait it out and kind of do a bit of research and kind of get out your spreadsheets and figure out which, what the most optimum time to pick up cards is and all that kind of thing. That's all cool. I've got nothing against doing that, but I don't like games that force you to do that. I like games that you can just get in and play and, you know, be a bit of a dumb fuck, but still achieve stuff and still get somewhere. And after all this, got another storm. Of course we do. I haven't actually gone around and repaired stuff for a while, so it's probably my own fault. I mean, if stuff falls over, they'll just rebuild, so I'm not really too fussed about that. But, yeah. So with that in mind, that's kind of where we're at the moment. Now, the other thing that has helped me out is myself and this other person who, shout out, but whatever. We played a multiplayer game the other day, and it's the first multiplayer game I've played, to be honest. And it was a lot of fun, and very tactical. A lot more tactical than I thought it would be. And I've had a couple of other people by now, I'm sure I've already talked to you, because this video won't be coming out for a little bit, have contacted me about playing multiplayer and that sort of thing, and I'm right on there. I'm down for that. Because, you know how I said, oh, it'd be cool to do some Mount of the Gods again and get some cards? Well, I didn't even realise, because I'm a dumb fuck, that you could just play multiplayer and get resources through multiplayer games. You could even cheat the system if you really wanted to, and basically, apparently, as soon as the multiplayer map starts up, if both sides drown or kill off their settlers, like their initial amount of people, straight away, and you both suicide essentially, then it counts as a win towards both sides, and you both get cards for it. And it obviously doesn't take very long, so you can kind of game the system that way as well by fudging it. But having said that, I had a really good time playing multiplayer when I have, and I think it's really worth playing. I'm going to try and maybe get some videos up of multiplayer, but having said that, I'm not going to film anything that involves another person unless I have their permission and they're cool with it. And some people aren't, and that's fine, you know. I'm totally down with that. Like, at the end of the day, I don't care. I just like playing the game. So, you know, if I do end up playing against people who are happy for me to film, that's great, but I'm not going to go film anyone who doesn't want me to, so yeah. You may see some, you may not. Either way, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's a cool way. There's another avenue to get cards and resources and that sort of thing, which I think is really useful, and I'll definitely be trying to play some multiplayers when I can. It's kind of hard because you've got to be online at the same time, and you know, people around the other side of the world and that sort of thing, but when the opportunity arises, it will happen. So we might be able to unlock a few different things here and there, or we might not. It depends how it goes. And that leads me to my last point, which is essentially more about the series. And if you've been following it, thank you so much for watching and everything. And, oh god, I just knocked down a house, didn't I? But yeah, if you've been watching the series so far and you've got this far, then thank you so much. It's great to have you along, and I hope you've been enjoying it. But this may be the last episode that you see for a little while, because, I mean, I'd record things in advance, so I'm not sure when even this video will come out. I imagine it will be in about a week or two, a week or a week and a half after I record it, because I know roughly how much I've got backlogged on my hard drive anyway, because I record a few hours at a time, so that, you know, I work during the day, so I don't have time to record videos every day, like record them and edit them every single day. I'd rather take a day every now and then, record a whole bunch of stuff, and then just edit when I have the chance and upload as I edit stuff. So that's the kind of deal that I'm working with here. So this video might not come out for a while, and by then we may have already had a patch update or something like that, in which case I'll be playing some more, because if it gets patched, then that's worth looking at. You'll at least get a patch video, I imagine. But even having said that, if they patch it and you have to restart your world, I still will continue with the series, but it'll be after a break, because I'm not going to make you sit through a whole nother series of videos. I mean, it's 40 odd videos of getting to this point where we maxed out. So instead, I'd rather do that offline and just play it myself, and if we have to restart the whole thing, then yeah, I'll do all that offline, and I'll get us to a point where it's roughly here, and then I'll be back with the series again, and it'll be like the reboot, the redux, the Godus harder. Godus 2, Godus harder. So yeah, we're almost at a billion belief. Just thought I'd point that out. So yeah, this could be the last episode for a while, because essentially until the patch comes out, there's not going to be much left to do because of all those limitations and that sort of thing. So that's cool. I mean, by all means, please check out my channel. I do have other stuff that goes on there, and there'll still be videos on there for other games and that sort of thing. But if you're not interested in it, that's cool. I mean, that's why I like doing a variety of stuff, because there's lots of different stuff that's out there, and everyone has different tastes. So yeah, essentially there may be a couple of multiplayer videos here and there after this, but there may not be. And the series probably won't continue full tilt until the patches come out, and then depending on whether you have to reset your world or whether it can just patch straight in, I'm kind of thinking that you will have to reset the world and start a new one. But if you do have to reset the world, it'll take a long time, or a long time. It might take a little bit longer for me to get back into the series, because of that idea of having to, you know, redo the world again. Or if it does just slot straight in, then as soon as the patch comes out, you can pretty much know that straight away, or as soon as I can after that, the series will start up again. So I guess that's it for this episode, and for maybe a little while. Because yeah, there's not really much else to do. I mean, even just in the time of talking in this episode, this stuff's gotten pretty much filled up. I mean, once these guys start building here and that sort of stuff, it'll all be over. and we won't have any more room left. So that's pretty cool. I mean, we could come way down to the beach and start expanding out here and stuff. Like, we could just expand the land out to literally everywhere that I can possibly get to. But I don't really want to do that. Call me crazy, but I don't really want to. Mainly because I like the idea of just keeping it semi-natural. I know that I've changed this terrain so much. That's the other thing! I only just remembered. Check this out, you can rename town names. So this is the first town, so if I called it First Town... Check that out! That was something else that I had to get told. Because I didn't even know you could do that, and all this time I've been just having towns. Town, town, town. So, I might rename these at some point. Maybe we'll have a renaming episode if there's nothing else we can do. I might even live stream it or something and get people's suggestions. Because that could be fun, but live streaming doesn't really work from where I live because our internet connection is terrible. Like, the best uprate I get is about, a whopping kind of 600k a second. It's not that great, and you need at least a couple of megaseconds to be able to stream successfully. Or at least not at a terrible quality. Like, I think if I use Twitch or something, it tells me, oh, you need to stream at 320p or something. And it's like, oh, really? But anyway, that's cool. That might happen down the future, but I'll let you know in an update video or something like that. But I reckon we'll have a little town naming video / ceremony at some point, because we got to rename these. I'm not going to leave that as First Town, but I didn't even know you could name them, and I love naming stuff. But let's have a little look on our first town here while we close this out. And I say thank you so much for watching, and I really do mean that. Even though this may be the end of this series, there'll be another one with the patch that comes out. And I don't really know where to go from here, so it feels a little strange, but thank you so much for watching up to here. I really appreciate it. Thank you for everyone who's gotten on to me about playing multiplayer, because I will get back to you soon, I promise. I've just had a really busy kind of time of it right now. And yeah, let's play some games and enjoy it and have fun. So I'll see you when I see you. Hopefully it won't be too long. Goodbye.